for all the people out there with a dream that just want to be seen. Yeah.
My dream's bigger than the average.
Welcome to the 8th episode of the Be Seen podcast. Today, we've got Jonathan Cerruto, a gentleman who was born in Canada, who moved to Italy at 4 years old and is published in London. He is a novelist and a lyricist. Jonathan, it is a pleasure to have you on today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you ever so much. Your journey is very, very intriguing, and please share it with us.
So as you said, I was born in Canada. When I was 4 years old, we moved to Italy. I come from a really humble family, and I went through some really dark moments. And when I was 17, I moved out and I went to Milan, where I got my graduation in fashion and design. I had the chance to showcase for a collection in London, designed and created by myself, but something was still missing. And you know, when you put those dreams aside and you put those dreams in the drawer, and then somehow something lights up. And when the pandemic exploded, when the pandemic killed basically a lot of people, I said, I need to do something with my life, because I don't want to go and keep doing something that I don't really love. So I decided to get those papers that I kept hidden inside the drawer, and I published my first book. I signed a contract with a publisher. My saga novels are called Joshua Bain and the Five Watchtowers. And it's basically a fantasy novel, but there's a lot of my personal life experience. There's a lot of truth. There's a lot of heart. And now I'm going through what really sets my soul on fire, which is writing novels, which is writing songs. As you mentioned, I'm a lyricist. I had the chance to write a few songs for international and Italian artists, and it's something that it's something that gives me fire, gives me laughs, smile, and sometimes pain, which it's totally fine. And last week, I published my second novel, part of the saga of Joshua Bain. And I am at the moment with 4 books published, the one with the publisher, 3 I just published myself as a self-publisher. And we're going where we're going, and it's been amazing. I'm loving every single second of it.
Oh, fantastic. When you moved from a traditional publisher to self-publishing, what was the reason for that? What inspired you to move across?
I would say the way that they were trying to distribute my book in the world. Joshua Bain and the Five Watchtowers has a very specific message that I want to share with the world, which is a message of hope. Because regardless what you go through in life, there's always hope. If you set yourself and if you truly believe in yourself and what you want to do in life, there's hope, and you can always make it. I'm the physical proof. I believed it, I believe in it, and I'm doing what I love doing. And that message of hope that I want to share to the world is just pure love. Like, love yourself first. Be kind to others, regardless what they say, because people will always talk about you in a good or in a bad way. Just go on, be like a train and move forward. That is my message, my main message in the books. Another message that I want to share also is myself being part of the LGBT plus community. Joshua Bain, which is the protagonist, is also part of the LGBT plus community. And I want to change the view of people, or let me rephrase this, how people see a member of the LGBT plus community. So that is another very important message that I want to share to the world. be LGBT community, be proud, do your thing, and live happily. That is one of the main messages, actually two messages in the book: hope and live proudly.
To that, brother, what a fantastic insight to that. Of course, life needs to be lived in the way that we want to live it, and our story is our story that we have to tell. And that was really well put. I totally agree and support that. Also, in terms of living in Italy, what's that like for you?
Well, I moved in Italy because, as I said, in 2020, when the pandemic hit, I had some very bad health issues. I underwent surgery, and that experience also changed completely my point of view. And Italy now is sunny. It's giving me a lot of funny moments. It's giving me a lot of great food, great coffee. And it's been almost 3 years now that we live in Italy after living 12 years in the UK. And Italy is a great place. It's an amazing place to live. I'm trying to also share my message to the Italian population, if they get the message. And I'm doing that even also to my lyrics, because I have written a few songs for Italian artists. And I hope that I can spread this message also here in this country, because this country still needs to do a lot of changes in terms of human rights, in terms of LGBTQ plus rights. So this is one of my missions in life, also to educate people in this country, because it's a beautiful country. It's full of history, full of beautiful places. And that's what I'm doing also. And I'm doing it with passion.
Always got to do it with passion, Jonathan. Always. In sense of writing, you initially began in the fashion industry and became highly successful in that space. In writing, when did you begin writing? Was this later on, or have you always been a writer?
I've always been a writer, if I can say that. I remember when I was 12 years old, I envisioned Joshua Bain, because for me, art has always been an escape from the place that I was. So I start to writing on the people on little scrap paper about this superhero that goes through a rough time, but then finds a way to sort things out. And yeah, I envisioned Joshua when I was 12 years old. And as I said, I had to put those papers in a drawer because I left my family when I was 17, so I had to sustain myself. I was alone. I am alone since I'm 17. And those papers, those stories, they had to go in a drawer. And I think it's totally fine, because I believe in the universe. I believe in the power of manifestation. I believe that the universe puts you on those specific spots because probably you need to go through that specific experience. And I'm pretty sure that if I did publish those books at that time, I wouldn't have the same results, because my life experience helped me to develop the character, develop the story. And I think it's really important to understand that time decides and the universe decides what is best for you. I remember even before I was 12 years old, because I'm not just a fashion designer and a writer, I also love to paint. As you can see, there's painting behind me. Yeah. Because I've always had this inclination for art, inclination for expressing my feelings through art. That could be a paint, could be a drawer, could be a drawing, could be a piece of poetry, a rhyme. But those little things have helped me in the past to go through those rough times. And I'm glad and I'm grateful And yeah, I would say when I was 8 years old, I started to realize that I had an inclination for art and for writing. Yes.
Wow. I didn't know you was an artist as well. And that looks beautiful behind you.
There are plenty.
Really, no, really good. In terms of the lyricist areas
Yeah.
of creativity, when did that emerge in you? Is that something that was around the same time?
Yes, I remember. Okay, my family has been very abusive physically and mentally. So I had to find a space where I could express myself because I grew up in a cult and any kind of artistic inclination was prohibited. So I couldn't follow those inclination. And the only way that I could express my feelings or the way I was feeling in that particular moment was, I remember when I was younger, hiding behind the table and write rhymes or write poems. And it's always been in me. And as I said, those experiences helped me to go now in the position of a lyricist that I am now. Of course, I've been to London and I study also creative writing. I also went to Berkeley College Institute where I polished my skills. But yeah, everything started when I was 8 years old, from writing to drawing to painting, because as I said, art has always been an escape for me from where I was in that moment, from that toxic environment. So I had to find a way to free my brain, to free my artistic inclination, and better art than drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. So not judging, not judging.
No, I definitely agree. You know, very healthy output for obviously, you know, emotions that we bear that we shouldn't be carrying around. I love how you place that. And when you say that you learned to polish your writing, your creativity, what did you learn? What techniques did you learn in order to polish from the version of Jonathan Cerruto then to afterwards when?
Be patient. I think that being a writer, a lyricist, or writing poems, or be an artist 360, you need to be patient. You don't need to rush things, especially in writing. If you rush things, you won't get the message across. As I said, my first novel, my first Joshua Bain, it took me almost 12 years to start to finish. Of course, on and off, because I had other priorities. It takes time. It can be your best ally, but can be also your worst enemy. Or even the pressure of paying the bills and life, the everyday life. So I would say I polished my way of being more patient, to take more of my time, to not rush things. And also the process of writing, because of course roughly you just start a story and you finish it, but in a in a novel there are so many steps. There is research, there is connecting the dots in the story, because me as a reader and as a writer, if I read a story that doesn't have any sort of connection, or like for example, the distance between Southampton and London is 2 hours and 15 minutes. I know this because I did my research. And if I read something that it's not, because I'm the type of person that goes online is going to go and check. And I'm pretty sure there are plenty of those people. So take your time. I would say I polished my way of not rushing things and be more detailed and do my research. And that is what I learned. And yeah.
I agree. Definitely research, taking your time. I think as creatives, we place a time pressure on ourselves that we need to make
Yes.
it by this time. We need to do it, you know, within this period. I think that allow the process to follow the process and allow it to carry you along versus you carrying the weight of believing that your content needs to be out, you know.
And
Nothing.
trust the process
Yeah.
also is important. Trust the process. Don't rush. Or that is another mistake that I've been doing in the past. I used to see other people or where they at or what they're doing. I was always like, I want to be in that place, so I want to do what he's doing. It's wrong, because I'm Jonathan. I have a story and I have life experience that is different from that writer, from that person, from that creative person. So that it was another thing that I polished, not look to other people and not compare myself to other people, because everyone has a different journey.
Never compare yourself to someone else. And
Never.
absolutely hit the nail on the head, because it's almost like siblings who grow up in the same home still have different perspectives, different
Yeah.
views, different,
Yeah, true.
so true. You should never compare yourself to anyone else, because you are you. Your story is yours. In terms of style of writing and the style that you have, how did you improve on your style? How did you improve on your actual writing to get to the level you are where you were published?
Well, I'm lucky that I have my partner that is an English professor and is also an editor. So he helps me with the editing and with the punctuation, because I'm not originally my stories are based in London. I'm not British. I'm Italian. So my English is not perfect. So I need someone that helps me in that punctuation system or dialogues or all those very technical things that you need to know to be a good writer. So that helped me a lot. And it's an everyday journey, I will say. It's reading a lot. It's watching a lot of films, a lot of uh, movies, how they say in America. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of internal journey. It's a lot of it's a lot of internal journey. It's something that you have to go through to polish your skills, and it takes time and patience and a lot of sacrifice, which I'm willing to do.
And that's why you are where you are. That's why you've achieved what you've achieved.
Thank you.
In terms of the music elements, some of the artists you've worked with, how's that? How does it feel different to, I imagine, because I've not wrote a novel myself, but writing a novel is obviously very independent. It can be a lonely experience, even though we have support and you have your partner who will read over it when it's completed. It's still very much us bringing all the details in, as you said, with research, and every day it's us against the page versus, in a collaborative creation. But with the writing of music, how does that differ? How would you actually compare or contrast the two different mediums?
There are two different worlds, even if somehow I get and I find inspiration on the books. And for example, I can write a verse from a song, and that verse is going to inspire me. It's going to inspire to write the next scene on the book, on the novel, and vice versa. They are distant, but they are connected. As you said, writing a novel, it's a very introspective work. It's a very independent work. Sometimes I need the feel to set myself alone. Sometimes I go in the car and write in the car, because I also have a dog and a cat, and they can be very annoying. So I need that space to write those scenes in the book. Music is different. Music is something that comes to my mind when I'm not even thinking about it. And when it comes, I have to write it down. I remember, I don't know if you're a Lady Gaga fan, but I am a huge Lady Gaga fan. And one day I will write for her. What happens to me is sometimes while I'm sleeping, I get these images in my brain, I get these words in my brain, and I have to write them down. And that is a gift. And you own that to your own gift, because it's something that you cannot control. And because I have a huge respect for this gift, sometimes while I'm sleeping, I force myself to wake up and write it down. and that it's magic for me. And that is how much the amount of respect that I have for this craft. And it is amazing. It is amazing. As I said, it's something that sets my soul on fire. And even if you ask me, would you change or would you be able to do something else? No, I wouldn't be able to do something else. Sometimes even now, people text me and say, "Why you stop doing fashion? Why you stop drawing shoes? Why you stop designing and creating a collection or clothes for other people?" Because it doesn't set my soul on fire. And if something you don't really love, you need to change. You need to have the courage to say, "Stop, that's not for me," and go for your true calling. And this is my true calling. And it's something that I want to do for the rest of my life. And it's something that puts a smile on my face, even in those darkest moments.
It's wonderful. What was your highest achievement in the fashion world?
Well, the fact that I was able to create 4 collections with my own sweat, tears, and blood, because I have a few pieces still in my wardrobe. There are little stains of blood because I used to sew everything by hand. That is a great achievement. I was able to showcase my collections in London, which is not something that it's not easy to do, especially in a city like London, which is like Milan. It's one of the fashion capitals. And that was a great achievement in the fashion world. Yes, that was a great, great, great experience. I don't regret it, but it's just part of the past.
Yeah, we all have a past, and like you said, what your true calling was.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. In terms of music, what inspires you? What music? You said Lady Gaga. What music are you into?
Well, I love any kind of music. I love pop music. I love reggaeton. I love hip hop. I love rap. I love any kind of music. And as I said, I don't have a specific style that pushes me to write that specific songs. It's something that pops up in my mind, and I think that other artists can relate on that, because I don't like to be labeled on, okay, Jonathan writes pop music, or Jonathan writes rap, or Jonathan writes rock music. No, Jonathan is a writer, is a lyricist. And I just follow the flow. I just follow what my heart in that moment is telling me. I just follow what the universe is telling me in that moment. And it's giving me great, great, great accomplishments. I'm really, really happy where I am now. I've written 2 songs for, and I cannot disclose it yet because they're still recording them, but they are great artists. And I've wrote also 2 songs for a very important and famous singer, Kerli, which I'm very proud of. And yeah, I'm going where my heart is telling me to go. And I hope that this is going to be a very, very successful path. And I truly believe that it's going to be a very successful path.
Yeah, me too. I think it's already building its success. I think you're really well on your way. And I loved what you said earlier as well about, your journey is loosely connected with your truth, in a sense. Obviously there'll be a drama element to it, but there is always that saying, you write what you know.
Exactly.
I think that is our power. Our power is our experiences. Because obviously also, we do need research if we're going to adapt stories or we're going to create total fiction, but there is a lot of fact in fiction. Even a scene, it still could have been inspired by not directly the same scene, but a situation which inspired that thought, which then becomes the scene that we write. And you're absolutely right. You are a writer. We should never typecast ourselves into being just one form or being one genre, because we have the ability to write and tie out these emotions and thoughts and
transform,
transformation of what we see in our senses and hear and everything, can put it onto a page to almost transfer into someone else. That is a gift. I don't think I think that we can always improve our writing, but I think the main thing to know if you're a writer is that calling that comes out of you saying, I have to, I have to write this down. I have to create something. That's the part. That's all you need to be a writer. The rest of it, comes with practice and nurturing.
Sure. It's the first thing that comes up in my mind, and the last thing that comes up when I go to sleep, writing. What is the best next scene? What is the next best chorus? What is the next best verse? So I had to respond.
And you responded, and you
I
responded
am.
well. No, excellent. And what's in your future? You said you're writing with some very big artists at the moment. What's in your future? What's your ambitions? What's next?
My ambition is to, well, finish the saga of Joshua Bain. I published the second novel last weekend. I don't know when this is going to be aired. I'm writing the third one, and it's going to be a 5 books novel. I see myself, I'm going to do the classic manager question that I do. What are you going to see yourself in 5 years? I see myself in a studio collaborating with great artists. My biggest goal is to write for artists like Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, Madonna. And that is one of my goals in terms of lyricist. In terms of novels, I want my book to become movies and series because I think they have a great potential, and I truly believe it. So my ambition is to my books to become movies and series. Yes.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it'd be wonderful to see it on screen, and there's no doubt that we will.
I can already picture it, and I have goosebumps. So yeah.
Is there anyone that you'd want to play certain roles?
Oh, well, I would love to Julia Roberts. I would love to cast Michelle Pfeiffer, but let's slow down the pace a little bit. Let's be more realistic.
You know what they say though? What is it? Realism is the most common traveled road to mediocrity.
Yeah, I know.
Always be ambitious. I believe you should follow what you truly believe. If that's what you believe, then go for it and make it happen. Do you know what I mean?
I'm working hard on that. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
So in terms of your paintings,
Yes.
you mentioned that there's inspirations that can then tie out in your art. Is it impulsive, or is it something you have in your mind and know that you just need to get out?
It depends. With the painting, it's just an impulse that you feel and you have to put it down. With lyrics, it's something that, as I said, pops in my mind, and you think about it and you polish it and you write it down. There are two different worlds. Like the painting is something more impulsive, it's more instinctive. The lyrics is more thoughtful. It's something that, of course, you have to think about it because lyrics is just poems with music. So you need to understand the rhyme. You need to understand if the rhyme connects with the other verse. So it's a systematic, and it's also a technical thing to do. When I was doing the course to become the lyricist that I am today, they are structure that you have to follow because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. So there's A and A, there's B and B, which means where the rhymes is going to fall, if the rhymes is going to connect with the chorus. So I will say that the painting is more impulsive and the lyrics is more, as the writing with my novels, is more something that pops in my mind. You think about it and then you develop it.
In terms of your writing and art, what are the biggest problems you face when you're doing it? What are the biggest challenges you face?
The pressure of because I'm the type of person that when I start something, I have to finish it and it has to be perfect. And there is that pressure on my shoulders of starting something and finish it. For example, I mentioned to you that I started the third novel, which I start writing while I was still writing the second one.
Wow.
And it's a pressure that I call them the voices in my brain. There are these voices in my brain that they keep talking and talking and talking, and that is the most pressure. I feel the most pressure in those situations when I have these voices in my brain that they're telling me, you have to do this, you have to write it down, you have to write it down. I will say the time and the pressure of finishing something. Now I'm talking to you in this beautiful interview, and I'm already thinking about the next scene on the third novel. And I have this pressure. And you, as a creative person, you totally understand. So you have this pressure on your shoulders of finish it, share it to the world. And that is what bugs me the most. So it's the pressure of finishing something and finish it well.
Yeah, it's like a nagging, isn't it? I get it. It's this nagging that we have to shut it up. We've got to get it done. You know?
Yeah.
So
There's
true.
the bills knocking at the door as well. So
that's it. You see, it's the financial pressures. How do you cope with that from obviously the financial responsibilities you have?
I mentioned earlier that I believe in the power of the universe. I do a lot of manifestation. I do a lot of meditation, and it helps me a lot because I am basically a very anxious person. So I need those moments to calm down and those moments to just plug it out. Just stop, take your 10, 15 minutes, do your manifestations, prayers. And I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in the universe and the power of manifestation. And meditation helps me a lot to calm down, go in those spaces. That actually helps me a lot with writing, because you, as a creative person, you totally understand that your brain can be a chaos, all these ideas in your brain. So you need a space to select those thoughts, put them in order, polish them, and do what you have to do. So I would say meditation helps a lot, helps me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. There's a song, you were speaking about songs. It's over 10 years old, this song. And it's called My Head is a Jungle.
Yeah.
It's the truth.
It is.
It's honestly the truth. You know, what I really struggled with when I was within employment was doing things that I don't really want to do, because my all that was crying out in me was to create. All I want to do is create all day, every day. And it doesn't even need to monetize. It's the pleasure of seeing a finished creation that brings me joy. And those emotions are priceless. You can't buy that. And as well with community within creatives and being around other like-minded individuals, regardless of form, and actually speaking with them, and they can hear exactly what you're saying. Because I almost feel that we're alien within the world, where, you know, we are different in a sense of being creative. It's a conversation that two creatives can pick up, where one starts, the other one finishes the sentence very quickly, because it's almost, we have this interconnected pull. We have this emotion that runs through us. We have our own journeys, we have our own voices, but I think that feeling is very similar, of this pull that we have to get this out of us. We have to speak our truth. We have to speak our pain, speak our joy, speak all our emotions, and share this with the world. And I think, and tell me if I'm wrong, this is the main ambition of creatives, is to actually have their words felt by others, for others to connect with what we're saying, and to know that others not necessarily feel exactly the same, but they understand how we feel. Would you agree with that?
I agree. And that is the message of my books as well. My message of the books is I want to find that little kid out there that probably went through or is going through the same things that I went through. And I want that little kid to understand that everything is going to be fine. You know, you're going to make it. So it's my message to those little kids out there who they think that they're not good enough, or they think they are wrong, or they think that they're not, as I said, worthy or good enough, that you're good enough. You can do whatever you set your mind on. It's just, you need to believe in it. And that is the magic of your brain, because we have beautiful brains. And if we set ourselves in a very clear path, we can do the impossible. My cat. Sorry about that. And yeah, my message is to reach to that little kid, to that person out there going through these rough times, and let them understand that it's gonna get better. You just need to focus on yourself, focus on what you really want to do, what really makes you happy. And regardless what people says, just go and move forward. You will make it. And it's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take a lot of sacrifice. I don't go clubbing because I prefer writing. I don't go dancing because I prefer writing a song. And it takes a lot of sacrifices, but you will make it. It's gonna be just fine. Try to be kind to yourself. Try to talk nice things about yourself, because your brain is gonna wire that way if you keep telling those positive things to yourself. And that is something that I do on a daily basis. And it's hard, it's not easy, but it's gonna be fine. Everything is fine. Life is beautiful. And we are in this world for a specific reason. And if you believe in it, you can do the impossible. I would never imagine myself to be in front of the laptop with you, having an interview about my writings, about my lyricist. If you asked me 10 years ago, 10 years ago, I was a store manager and I hit it every single second. But I had to do it because life knocks at your door and you have to do what you have to do. And I put myself, and I did put myself in a position where I had to make a choice. It is hard. It is hard because, as I said, I would like to go clubbing, even if I prefer to writing. But there are sacrifices that I'm willing to do for the bigger picture. And I know that, referring to the question that you asked me earlier, what you see yourself, or where you see yourself, what is your ambition? I see myself a Grammy winner. I see myself as a producer, executive producer of my own novels in the next series on Netflix, on Hulu. And I truly believe that. And it's all about how you set yourself. And I'm setting myself this way, and I know that I will make it.
So it's interesting you say that, because last night at the Oscars, Ke Huy Quan, the gentleman that plays Data in The Goonies, also plays a part in Indiana Jones, the Temple of Doom, right? Iconic in the 80s. He then obviously, kind of goes off the radar into adult acting. Last night, he wins an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. So when you say about, I want to go to the Grammys, I want to do these things, you can do anything.
Yeah.
You can do anything. As long as you are willing to sacrifice, you're committed, and you're not going to stop. I think that is honestly the ingredients to achieving anything. When you call it impossible, it becomes impossible because we put ourselves in the way of getting to what we want. And he is the epitome of that. He says that he was actually, as a young kid against all these trials and tribulations to be where he is. He actually dedicates it to his mother, who's watching. She was 84. He just won an Oscar, and he's overcome with emotion.
I can already see that it's amazing. I can see already in 10 years, remember this interview with you. And I'm going to remember this interview saying these things. And I totally agree. And that is the power of the manifestation. If you manifest it and if you truly believe it, you can achieve anything in life. Anything. Only if you truly believe it. Of course, you have to work hard. And one of my favorite mantra is diamonds comes from time and pressure. And that is the what closes the whole thing. Like, you need to work hard, you need to take your time, trust the process, Don't listen to people. Just listen to your guts. Listen to your heart, because that is what, this voices that I hear in my brain. It's just my guts telling me, Jonathan, you need to do this because it's the right thing to do. So trust the process, trust the guts, trust your heart, and trust your instincts.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got to follow yourself, your gut. I think we overlook this too often. Our instincts are there for a reason. They're telling us, they give us direction, and we just have to believe that. Cut out the noise. There's so much noise in this world today.
So much.
We have to cut that out, because at the end of the day, they say if you make a decision or you make your bed, it's maybe a British term, make your bed, lie in it.
Yeah.
Voices, you've got to live them. So actually listen to yourself, because it's you who has to live those choices. And we have many of them. And our choices can really dictate our fate, in my opinion, which way we go. I think there are different offshoots on our journey. There is a version of Jonathan Cerruto who's in a nightclub. Sadly, that when the curtain comes down and that nightclub shuts, wow, so are his dreams.
Yeah.
And that isn't saying not to go out and socialize, enjoy yourself.
No.
You have to enjoy yourself. But if you want to achieve something, a bit like a fine-tuned athlete, you have to be focused. You have to be resilient. You have to sacrifice. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Because also, there are many ambitious people out there who are, and that's the difference. The ones that go on and achieve are the ones that go on and sacrifice.
There's so many people who gives up because they don't want to do the hard work. They don't want to sacrifice. They don't want to spend a lot of time. Probably they expect to see results in a short amount of time. It doesn't work like that. You need to be resilient. You need to take your time, as I mentioned before, trust the process and work hard.
What tips would you provide aspiring novelists with writing a book, which is to a level of, publication where it'd be received as this is publishable?
Well, do your research. That's really important. Do your research, be detailed, and listen to your heart, listen to your instincts. Of course, there is a structure to follow, but the topic is trust your guts and speak your truth. Don't, of course, fiction is something that you imagine, is something that you invent, but there must be always a base of truth, because people respond to that. And if you speak with your heart, people can relate also to that. And once that specific person is going to relate to that story, it's going to create a bond, a connection that it's going to be indestructible, because you see yourself in those words, and that is magical. For example, one of my favorite author is Edgar Allan Poe. He's one of my, I would say, is my mentor. Like, I wish he was still alive, because the way he tells a story, the way he speaks his mind, the way he speaks his voices in his mind, I can relate with him. So it's incredible how a page can create a sort of connection with someone that probably you never met before. So that it's magic for me.
Yeah, I love that. And in terms of being a lyricist, for those that are aspiring to write song lyrics, what tips would you give?
Do your homework. Do your homework, because it's different from writing a novel. You need to understand the basic structure of a song. You don't need to necessarily be a singer. You can be a lyricist even if you're not a singer. Of course, it can help. It helps. But it's not fundamental. If you are able to do even these courses that you find online, which are very helpful, they can help. But yeah, do your homework. know what you're talking about. And as I mentioned about the novels, speak with your truth, because a song is something that goes straight to people's heart. The message that you want to portray with a song is something that people will remember, because the difference between a book and a song is, I don't know, for example, when you hear a song, the first thing that you hear and you remember is the chorus, which is the main message of the song. So you need to find what kind of message you want to share to the world, do your homework, be resilient, and don't give up. Don't give up. There will be many people saying, oh, you're not good enough. You have no idea how many people used to tell me you're not gonna make it, you're not gonna make it in any kind of situation in life. So don't. I will never be tired of saying this. Don't listen to people. Don't listen to the noise, as you mentioned earlier. Don't listen to the noise. Listen to what your heart is telling you. As I said, out there must be someone that is going through the same situation you've been, and just keep going. Just tell your truth, speak with your heart, and don't give up.
Yeah,
It's
never.
hard. It's
Yeah,
hard, but
it is.
keep
It
going.
is. But never ever give up. Never give up. When you talk about the structure of writing a novel, what would that be? What is the structure of writing a novel?
Oh, we're going technical now. Well,
Let's go there. Let's go there.
let's go there. I wouldn't say that there is a structure with a novel. Novel is more as focus on the story. Of course, now with the self-publishing, you have all these rules to follow to make everything polished and nice. But usually a novel is chapters, table of content, because the reader needs to know what he's going to read, where's the position of the number of the page, where you want to put capitalization of the title. But it's the story. So I focus more. That's why I have my partner that thinks about that. He thinks about the editing, he thinks about the layout of the page. I am more into the story. I go with the story, and that's what I told him when we published the last one. You have the story now, do what you have to do. Don't even talk to me. Do what you have to do. So I'm more into the story, how to I do my research, of course. I connect all the dots, because especially in a saga novel, which is part of 5 books, the first one has to be connected with the second one, and the second one needs to be connected with the third one. So it's a hard work of also connecting all the dots. And it's not an easy job to do. That's why I say, if you don't really love it, you're not gonna make it. You need to love it. Otherwise, it's gonna crumble, because there's no connection. So you're gonna lose the reader. So everything has to be connected.
Absolutely. Absolutely. In terms of a character, how do you build a character? What things do you do to build your characters?
Well, Joshua, as I mentioned earlier, I envisioned him when I was 12. And Joshua is something that somehow I would say that is Jonathan on paper, but it is Jonathan on paper. So Joshua goes through very hardship in his life. He lost his twin sister, which is something that happened to me as well. He goes in another country, which is something that happened to me as well. I build the character mainly based on my life experience. So that's when I say talk your truth, because it is my truth. Even it's a fiction, it's a fantasy, but there is a base of truth, life experience that happened to me. The abuse that I've been through, it's something that I talk about in the books. And I'm not saying this because I want to play the victim. There's no victims here. I build the characters based on my life, personal, real life experiences. My hubby is here.
Hello. That's brilliant. I tell you what, I just love listening to you. I love listening to you, and I love the way that you speak. You speak with true conviction. You speak what you say makes sense. You know, there's no fluffing around. This is, you know, what you say.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, when you write a character, maybe one that's not based on yourself or based on an actual situation, or a character that you've created, or even those characters, I suppose. When do you name them? Is it straight away? Is it the name on the page and then start to build them out, or is it build them out and the name will come?
The name comes after. I build the character, I build his personality, I build what that character wants to portray. My dog is here checking on me. The names comes well, depends. For example, in the saga Joshua Bain, there are many fiction characters, of course. There is a specific character that I love, which is Nonna Betty, which is basically Joshua's Bain grandma. I never met my grandma, but the image of possibly having that person in my life helped me to build that character. And Nonna Betty came from Elizabeth, which is Mary Elizabeth, which is the name of my real sister. So it's everything. So it could sound confusion, messed up, but it's not. Everything has its own connection. I would say that the character comes, his personality or her personality first, or their personalities first, and the name pops up. It's like when you have a baby, you see it in the face and the name it pops up, so you don't think about it. It's the same exactly thing with my characters. I picture them, I create their personality, and the names comes up. I don't know how to explain it, but it's all.
I understand, but it made me think how many babies have been named, especially if there's been relief with the gas. You just never know what comes out, do you? But no, that makes sense. You know, I like that. You see, I've done it both ways round. Sometimes I have a name and then building that out. You know, I think names, sometimes we have associations with people we've actually met in our lives that we think they're that type of person. You know, that was this name. So what I'm saying is, let's say you were bullied at school and their name was whatever it might be, you will always have that association. So if you built a bully within your story, it could end up being the bully that was in your life, you see, or someone you like, or someone you loved. It's both ways round.
Yeah.
But no, fantastic.
Well, for example, Joshua Bain is in love, is madly in love with a character, which I called Cesar, and Cesar is my husband's surname. So it's all connected.
No, I actually have a pen name which I created, you know, in a certain way. I have references myself, so I really, you know, love that. That's really nice. You know, I believe that books and our writing are also as well. They immortalize our lives. You know, that will always be there. Jonathan Cerruto's story and these names will always be there.
They're gonna be there,
and they do inspire others. You know, you have the boxer Tyson Fury. He's named after Mike Tyson. You see what I'm saying? And these legacies live on. And it's the same in our writing when a story touches someone, which is, you know.
It's not copying. It's not being a copycat. It's just getting inspiration from.
I totally understand it. I'm exactly the same. You know, it could be a middle name that could end up being a character's name from someone within your family, someone you love. You know, I think that's really cool. And it's so true as well. And I love that. You do the main thing right. You do, Jonathan, is you write what you know, you write what you feel. There's always going to be blanks. There's always going to be missing spaces. That journey between Southampton and London, did you say?
Yeah.
Right. 2 hours 15. Right.
Yeah.
Some details we want to nail down, but you'd still drove that, but maybe just didn't know how long it took. So you've got to equate for that within the story. There are these details, but the essence of it and how you feel, you should never try and be anything but you.
Yeah.
Ever. You know, I thoroughly enjoyed speaking with you, Jonathan.
Same.
And you're a true creative. You're a true creative. And that is what I've learned from speaking with you today, or almost what's become visible to me, is we are a plug, and taking that plug off, we don't know what will come out and in which medium. You know, I can't draw. I truly admire the fact that you can. I'd love to be able to draw. I love photographs.
Everyone can draw. Remember, everyone.
I don't know, no, Jonathan, I really can't.
Everyone can draw. You just need to understand what is the starting point, and you need to understand the basics. It's all about basics. It's all about practice, but everyone can draw. Trust me.
You tell me the basics quickly.
Well, the anatomy of the body, like you have 8 sections. So you start from the head, you go for the shoulders, then you go with the arms. I did fashion design, so I have to understand the body anatomy. So if you know and you understand those size and you respect them, you can totally do it. I thought I couldn't draw, but I can.
Maybe I'm gonna have to give it a go. I don't know.
I'm gonna send you a link from some with some instructions so you can practice.
Oh, I appreciate that. That'd be fantastic. I'm also going to purchase your book as well, my good friend. I'm going to purchase it. If I'd love you to sign it. I'd love you to sign it. I'd love so just tell me where, you know, how I need to do it, where I need to send funds, if it's through Amazon or
you'll find everything on Amazon. You can follow on my Instagram, on my Twitter. There's the links there. There are 4 books out there. 2 parts of Joshua Baines and the 5 Watchtowers novel. One is just poems, and it's called...
You wrote a book on poems?
Yeah.
Hey, wow.
It's called Roses in Chains, a collection of thoughts. And I published 2 weeks ago my first lyrics book called Groove is in the Heart. And you all find them on Amazon.
Superb. No.
And definitely. If you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free.
Maybe I do. I haven't had a Kindle in a long time, you know. Over 10 years. I remember when Kindles come out, but
people loves it.
Yeah. There's not a lot we can't do with our phones anymore. There's a read with our phones.
Exactly.
It's scary, but it's useful, you know. Like there's so much we can do.
I prefer the paper. I love the smell of the book. I love the smell of the paper.
Me too. That's crazy to say that. It'd be interesting to see how many people do it. Everybody does enjoy the print, you know, the smell, the aroma from it.
Yeah.
Is there anything furthermore that you'd like to share with the audience, Jonathan?
I think we went through in this half an hour or 1 hour through my life, I would say. I'm actually sweating now. No, but it was really, really fun. It was really, really nice. You know that every time, anytime you want, I'm always available for you. Awesome. I really, really enjoyed the way you made me feel at ease. And yeah, you're going to go very far as well.
Yeah, you've already gone far, my friend. I think you're going to go further, and I think you will achieve all the ambitions that you set to do. Hold on to that. Never let go, and never listen to anybody. Listen to you. You know, there's every great that ends up making it was told they weren't. Ironic, isn't it? Ironic. There's a lesson in the tale.
Yeah.
Jonathan Cerruto, thank you ever so much for your time, brother.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you speaking so openly. I appreciate that you sharing in good detail about yourself, your creativity, what you have out in the world. And I can only thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan and Jonathan.
The perfect match.
To everybody, stay great and be seen.